And good morning, Hoosier Nation, and welcome to, finally, victorious edition of Hoosier Morning After. This is Hoosier Morning After Maryland. Your Indiana Hoosiers last night go on to defeat the Maryland Turtles 64-74. Team came out last night, just looked more relaxed and more focused from the beginning of the game, which may not have been the case if you're on a 5-game losing streak. With all the things on the line that IU had going into this game. It's a tough game to get up for as a team, and you would think the team would have looked tense, would have looked on edge and everything with the weight of everything going on. I contribute that great to the players to be ready for this game in the proper way, to not feel that weight, feel that pressure by the fan base and everything from us to get out there and next game up. Focus up and do what you're supposed to. And good job from the guys to be ready and show up in the right way. Because, I mean, I know a lot of you, and myself included, was nervous leading into this game. And I tried to take a mentality early on in the day of just sit back and be a fan again and enjoy the game and watch the game, and don't try to put too much weight on it. As we normally do as fans going into these types of games. And obviously the players treated it that way as well. They just looked more relaxed. There was a lot more movement on offense, and things just seemed a lot smoother. This was a game that was up and down. The old saying holds true. Basketball is a game of runs. And I think IU handled those runs well and answered them by not rushing, taking care of the ball, running good sets, and just getting quality shots. That was just really kind of the main thing in this game, was getting quality shots, getting the right shots. And all of that was on the back of Xavier Johnson. Xavier Johnson had a fantastic game. He obviously finished with a fantastic stat line. Nearly perfect. You know, he hated that last free throw, but was 7 for 7 from the field, 3 for 3 from 3. Finished with 7 for 8 from the line. Again, missed that last one. I think that was just a little bit of exhaustion at that point and being a little tired. 6 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal, and in 27 minutes. So he played all of the second half and just 7 minutes of the first half. So impressive game by him, and shows that as he goes, this team goes. And definitely as well, that's just college basketball, period. It's such a point guard driven game, especially when you have an NBA coach that wants to put a lot more emphasis on the point guard position as well. It's going to go that way as well. So good to see him firing on all cylinders. Good for his confidence. He struggled in recent games, and he's had obviously some personal things going on with the passing of a family member and other things like that. So it's good to see him being able to turn it around and play a good game. And as I've said before, he's one of those players that just plays on that razor's edge. And I think he made the edge of that razor just a little bit thicker in this game as well, because I don't think he was that player that I've praised before, where you want him to play just slightly out of control or just on the edge of out of control. He played right there on the line, just in the proper way, getting downhill when he needed to, allowing the defense to collapse again. Maryland collapses a lot more than a lot of other teams will on us, on drivers and everything. But doing that, finding then the open man, finding a cutting race or trace or kicking it out, doing the right things in those moments. And it just creates more opportunities for quality shots, for better shots, for the offense to look smoother, for the offense to run smoother. When you have a point guard that can orchestrate those things in such a better way. Um, his early foul trouble honestly had me a little bit concerned in the first half because Maryland does have a pretty good point guard as well, keeping on that point guard conversation in Russell Fats, I guess as they call him. He's a fast little quick guy, and I was a little concerned in the first half when X went out with foul trouble. Even put on my notes, questioned who's going to guard him, who's going to be able to keep up with him and stop him. And um, there was an interesting point there in the game at the 10-minute mark. IU was up 15 to 17. Trace Jackson Davis sits, and I put on in my notes, does stuff shift? And I mean that in the sense of good or bad. I mean both ways, and with honestly a little tinge of good, because we've seen moments this year when Trace goes out that the team plays slightly better. Because I don't know if it's that guys tend to focus up a little bit more when he's out because they see him as maybe too much of a crutch, too much of a sure thing. Well, when he's in there, we're just going to throw it down to him and he's going to get his points, or I need to be ready to receive and he'll repost up. Do they relax to that degree when he's in there? And then when he's taken out, then guys feel like they need to move more and create and everything. And that happened at that 10-minute mark with Trace Jackson Davis sitting down. I think X sat down at about that same time. And IU took it to a 10-point lead in just 6 minutes. It was some great ball movement, a lot of plays, a lot of different screens, ball weaves, so many things that we don't really see as much when Trace Jackson Davis is in there. And they lock in a little bit more. And yes, we did go on a bad run, or allow Maryland to go on a run and kind of close it out to bring it within 3 in the end of the first half. But it's interesting to see those kind of things happen. And I think that kind of shift or makeup of the game and how he went out and X went out and movement had to happen, I think set in for the team, helped the second half be as successful as it was when Trace got back in there. It kind of set a tone for the rest of the game to have more ball movement, to have guys taking more quality shots, not just throwing it down low to him and hoping things happen. Because you look at the stat lines for the second half, we've wanted a team that's going to shoot well and everything. And again, I know this is against Maryland, towards the bottom tier and everything like that. They're not the greatest defensive team, but still great to see that this team can put the shots in and put them in well, finishing the second half at 75% from the field, 50% from 3. And glory, hallelujah. Can I get an amen? 78% from the line. That's just great efficiency. That's just great ball movement. A few assists that kind of got a little bit sloppy at the end of the second half, but good moments in there in this game to show that this team knows what they need to do with the ball and how they can move and what plays they can run. And it's the two-sided coin that adds up to the amount of frustration that we feel as Indiana fans, because you see them do these kind of things and these types of situations and this kind of movement and these plays and this, and it looks so good, and it is good. And then you see the bad. It's such a Jekyll and Hyde ceiling and floor that this team has that just adds to that frustration. Now, this is the right time for this to happen in the situation that we are in. And we're going to see how this team decides to build on from here and continue to play like this moving forward. Speaking a little bit more about individual players in this game, just some great minutes from Anthony Leal. So excited for the future of this team with Trey Galloway and Anthony Leal. That is just like a coach's dream base two players to have that can shape a team over top of. Those are guys that can set a culture, that can set a theme, set a work ethic for a team that you can just bring in 5 stars over top of, skilled players over top of, and just absorb them into that culture and that mentality that you have in those two guys setting that foundation. Anthony Leal is 100% a glue guy in training. He's going to be that glue guy for Indiana, that kind of get the things done off the stat sheet. Just did some amazing things. I mean, again, he didn't load the stat sheet, but there was one possession where his man was driving it and he was kind of behind his man a little bit. Michael Dirk kind of steps in to help him, but he's trailing with his man as he's driving on D. And then after cutting him off enough that with Durr's help, that the Maryland player felt like he needed to kick it out, he kicks it out to a shooter. And it was Leal who then immediately gets out there to that shooter and recovers and affects his shot to the point where he misses that shot. Just little hustle plays like that, staying in the play, keeping with the play, not giving up because, okay, I stopped this guy from driving, I'm done now in this defensive possession. Staying active, staying aware. He had another play that was really great to see and just shows his basketball IQ and his mentality and his selflessness, where he was out on the wing. I think Race was the one that had the ball in the post. Leal's guy sags down on him. Race passed it out to him. Not the greatest pass. He didn't catch it cleanly and everything. And while the fans were cheering him to take that shot, Leal passes on taking that shot, dribbles around his man who's closing out hard on him. Obviously, that's why he shouldn't have taken the shot. And the pass was kind of low for him. Dribbles around him, passes it back to Race for an easy layup. That's why Indiana in the second half had a better shooting percentage, and overall in this game had a better shooting percentage, because guys set the tone like that yes, I could have taken a shot, wouldn't have been a high percentage shot, but look, I can keep going and I could keep working at this possession and I can get a better shot for one of my teammates. And that's going to be better for us as a whole. That's fantastic. That's what you like to see from a player, from the future of this program, because that's just amazing stuff. That's great things to see. Another little interesting moment that I frustratingly took on my notes and was excited to mention in the game, because I don't know if many people would have caught it, but then they had to go and ruin it out of the timeout in the telecast and talk about this moment. Was IU, when we've struggled to get over the hump, what you talk about, and to me what that hump is execution, is a lack of execution at the end of the game, doing little things when the game is getting out of hand or is starting to get out of hand or out of reach for IU to win, making silly mistakes that build on it. To me, that's more of kind of what the hump is for this IU team. And Miller Kopp had one of those crazy little moments there. There was about 9 minutes left in the game. IU was up only 3. We come out of the timeout and he gets kind of stuck in the corner and does that crazy behind the back pass into traffic, trying to get it down to Race or something. There's no room for that. There's no excuse for that. And coach got on him in that situation. Those are the execution things that can lose you a game, can snowball from there, especially if you're not at home. If you're away, that gets the other team energized. They go down, they score a basket, they're within one or tie it up, and suddenly you're swimming underwater. And a few plays later, I am not sure if this was conscious or not by X. I want to give him credit that it was, but X gets a steal on the breakaway. He's dribbling and he's got it's a 1-on-2 basically with Tamar Bates, and the Maryland defender is biting on X driving. So he's got Tamar easy pass for him for the layup. But he looks back and sees, he's probably looking back to see if there's other defenders, but looks back and sees that Miller Kopp is the next guy coming down the lane. And instead of passing it to Tamar, he passes it to Miller Kopp to get that dunk. And that's a confidence builder for Miller Kopp. That's to be able to get that jam and a breakaway. And again, I know Miller Kopp's a veteran guy and it's not going to let things disturb him, and is able to move on past things, or should be able to as a veteran player. But those are things that weigh on you in a game. And getting a dunk, a breakaway like that is something that can kind of lift you out of that situation. And good on you, X, for doing that. I'd like to think that that was a conscious decision by you to get that to Miller Kopp and help build his confidence and get him back into the game mentally. Race Thompson, again, had a fantastic game, had great stats for him. Kind of shocker. He has these games where he scores a lot of points and you think that it was, you don't recognize it. It's a quiet game. He has this quiet, high scoring games where he ended with the second highest points in 19 for the team, 9 of 12 from the field, 1 of 2 from free throw line, and two turnovers for him in this game in 38 minutes. So he played a long time in this game, and he finished with the top plus minus as well. Him, Xavier Johnson, and Anthony Leal were the 3 players with the top at 11 plus minus. Again, know that stats flawed, whatever you want to say, but it's an interesting thing to look at. Just good contribution from the bench overall. Like I said, in that first half, that segment when the guys went out and things got moving and everything, Tamar Bates only ends with 3 points. It was 1 for 5 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, and made 1 free throw. But I liked the shots that he got, and I liked the confidence that I saw from him. And he's just a few ticks away from everything clicking for him, and a little bit more, and those shots just falling a little bit more for him. So 22 minutes, he got extended minutes, obviously, again, because Trey is out, so he's going to get a lot more minutes. But I liked seeing Leal and Tamar in there together. I do like that combination. If Leal can be consistent with hitting the 3, Tamar and his creativity and everything, and just the glue things that Leal does, I like that lineup with those 2 in there. Even though they're young players and everything, I do like what they bring individually and what that duo puts together and makes for this team. So again, very excited. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I'm very excited for the future, especially with those 2 as well, and the guys that are coming in. Other things to look at, one of my favorite stats to look at, and is those layups. And guys, we took care of it this time. Sick of saying bad layup stats. 12 for 13 in layups. So we got them in there. We took care of business and everything like that. A lot of that, again, obviously has to do with not as many personal fouls being called in this game. IU finished with 12. Let me see how many personal fouls a day. So we ended up with 28 personal fouls called in this game. So refs called a decent game, called a little bit better of a game. Went to the replay, oddly, a few times, nothing too crazy. I would have maybe liked that second shot clock call to not have been a foul. When they kind of replayed, they looked at it. And I don't know if it's something maybe they can't review. I don't know the ruling on it, but they were reviewing to see if he got the shot off. And then they figured out that because the foul was called before the buzzer went off, that it's a continuation after that, because he maybe would have finished in time had he not been fouled. But some of the pictures I saw and replays I saw, it looked like the foul didn't even happen in time. So if the buzzer hits, unless it's a flagrant or a technical type of situation, the ball's dead after that. And it doesn't matter if I hit your hand if you're taking a shot. if you take it 2 seconds after the clock expired. That doesn't exist. But again, good stats looking overall. Just the numbers. I mean, just look at the numbers. Field goal percentage for the whole game, 59%. Let's round that up. 59.6. So let's say 60%, just because that feels so much better to say. 38 for the day. Again, 50 in the second half, 72% from a free throw line. So taking care of business where we needed to in this game. And that's just such a great thing to see. Obviously as well, dominated the paint, points in the paint. IU had 44 and Maryland had 24. So a good game overall, a game that we need to build on, a game we need to continue to. We've got to get these next two. Man, would it be nice if we can continue this kind of energy and rise and steal the Purdue one as well? That'd be great. Not holding my breath. But next game is at the Barn. We always have struggled at the Barn a little bit. This will be Race. Should he be a senior this year and choose to move on, this will be his last time heading towards home and playing in the Barn. He usually gets fired up for these games, so excited to see Race continue on a good game that he had. They play at 6 p.m. on Sunday, and then continue that momentum, continue going into Rutgers on Wednesday. Rutgers is not going to be an easy game, guys. Rutgers has proven this year that they can beat anyone at any time. So that's not a cakewalk. That's not a given game. That's not one that you can chalk down to a W. So some work to do, some work to be done, but let's all take a breath. We can take a breath for now, Hoosier Nation. It's been tense. It's been a tough February, but we're just 5-6 days from the end of February. Things are looking a little bit better. Let's close this month out well. Let's win this game on Sunday. Let's take that next game. Let's go to the tournament, take 1 or 2 in the Big Ten tournament, and make it no question that we belong in the big dance this year and get these guys out there. So, yeah, that's going to do it, guys, for this edition of Hoosier Morning After. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you guys so much listening to the show and indulging me. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. There you can find information about the show, when I go live and everything. Thanks to those that listen on different podcast platforms. I see those views, guys, those listens. I appreciate you listening as well. Also to tell you guys, I'm also on Facebook. I have a Facebook page as well. Go over there, like that Facebook page. Hoosier Morning After, search for that. You'll find that there. It airs the show just as much. I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. I know a lot of you guys probably don't either. But thanks for joining me, guys. Special thanks to Bob Thompson for producing the music you hear on the show. We'll be back again the morning after the next show. Until then, go out there, have a wonderful day, and as always, go Hoosiers.